Well, I know it's a lot to try to cover 20 or more Psalms a day, and I wish you God's blessing as you're trying to go through the book of Psalms, no matter whether you're looking at one a day or several dozen. Today, our Psalm of the day is Psalm 71, and I think it's a psalm that many people in our congregation can relate to. It's the prayer of an older worshiper. It's a prayer for someone who is nearer to the end of his or her life than the beginning. And I think those of us who have been on this planet for a while can relate to much of what is written in the psalm. I won't read the psalm in its entirety to you, but the verse I want to focus on is verse 18 and verse 9. Verse 9 says, "Do not cast me off in the time of old age. Do not forsake me when my strength is spent." And then verse 18, "So even to old age and gray hairs, O God, do not forsake me." Psalm 71 is really a prayer for deliverance. It's a psalm that is asking God to rescue from enemies. And while we may not have physical enemies who are pursuing us like the psalmist might have had, or enemies who are accusing us or trying to overtake us, or in many ways, I know from listening to hundreds of you through the years and getting older myself, in some ways, even aging can feel like an enemy. And it's like an enemy that's pursuing us who we will never escape from. And the question is, how do we face getting older when our body changes, our physical or mental capacity may diminish somewhat, no matter how diligent we are about our exercise or our diet or how we handle stress. The fact of the matter is things change in our 40s, our 50s, our 60s, our 70s, our 80s, our 90s, and even for our folks who make it to 100. So what can you do as you get older in terms of your faith? Well, part of what we also see in this psalm is that there is a cumulative, hopefully, maturing that happens. Verse 5 says, "For you, O Lord, are my hope, my trust, O Lord, from my youth. Upon you I have leaned from my birth." And so this psalm is the prayer of a very mature worshiper who has been trusting and worshiping and following God all the days of his or her life. And verse 14 says, "But I will hope continually and will praise you yet more and more." And I pray that as you move through the seasons and the stages of life, as you get older, that you'll continue to lean on the Lord, that you'll continue to praise God more and more, and that you will share what you have seen in your life of faith with those who are younger than you, to pass on the story of God's love and faithfulness.